In today's video, we're continuing the alternate future of the world series. And as we know, the world is frozen. One of the nations, the Germany Empire basically, wants all of that territory, but they ask Bulgaria and Hungary to assist them. They promise small amounts of lands, because both those nations, they believe, should get some. But what they want, the Empire Germany, basically, they want everything. Well, the Russian nation doesn't join because it was humiliated the last time it joined the war. With Bulgaria gaining a massive chunk of land, but they just missed Crimea, which honestly they deserve. They kind of deserve Ukraine, though. Not Ukraine. With Germany managing to take Crimea, both sides are a bit agitated by only getting a small amount. But they're... yeah. That did happen. Well, as you can see, that's not what I meant to have happen. So now to fix that quickly. And now to get rid of the border between Germany and it, as they have split the land with this German Empire wanting everything to gain control of as much resources as they want. Betrayal is likely to happen, but not necessarily going to happen. Now, let's go to where you've all been waiting for this war. War of this area. There's some, like, green left on the map for some reason. It's, well, even though the world is frozen, but not fully frozen, obviously. It's frozen to about the equator. Like, into Brazil, it's frozen. Well, they advance south. Within the initial invasion, they managed to achieve naval and air supremacy over the continent. And they use the dominances they have of both to invade the Caribbean. They slowly advance through southern Mexico, whatever this nation was called, north of South Central America. Mexico quickly falls. As you can see, they advance south. With South America being relatively weak compared to the strength of them. With their goal of making a puppet in South America, a northern puppet and a southern. Well, actually 3, because they decided to make Brazil its own puppet. With Colombia collapsing, all the nations are just collapsing. Even Ecuador. Actually, we will divide it in just 2. There's a land over here. Slowly, Brazil, who's all these nations, since they were used to warm weather and farming, I guess a lot of it, are starting to collapse. Because, well, being frozen in a warm country that also has a lot of agriculture is not good. With all the livestock dying. Not a good thing to happen. With a few of the nations being forced into surrender. And this collapses, and then, well, the rest does. And they decide 2 puppets. A Brazilian puppet, because why not, even though it's ginormous. And I guess, Spanish one? I don't know what I'd call this. With them being puppets up to there, and they annex these ones. And effectively, they managed to do it. They also annex all the Caribbean. But since there's no borders, we don't need to worry about it. With them now being dominant over this continent. And this is going to help them with their way of saving this place. They believe. With them having parts taken back from both nations, from other areas, but not much. the retaking of it. And with nobody able to control that, because, well, they're not connected by it, they decide to annex this. And they decide to make Mongolia hold a vote, which ends in them being allowed. But India decides to annex Tibet. And, well, they annex their puppet in Pakistan, yes. And what happens in this area? Well, Kurdistan gets annexed by them. And, well, I'm not going to worry about some of the islands because it's only a quick war. They decide to go after Russia. Yes. And you may be like, well, this is doomed to end bad, but guess what? They're not as big. And, well, quickly after, they decide to take surrender. Why surrender? Because it's their best move. And, well, now the biggest nation is them. By a long shot, they're one of the biggest, maybe not the biggest. And they decide to annex Switzerland. Why Switzerland? Because they can. And, well, Bulgaria, minus their islands, decides to go after Hungary. Yes, Hungary. You heard that right. They're gone after Hungary. What did Hungary do wrong, you may ask? Nothing. They just are greedy for land. Everyone is in this timeline. Every land means the bigger you are here, the better. And normally that isn't true. Well, I forgot to color in most of Bulgaria, but it's not a big deal. Because, well, the Hungarian Empire was not strong enough to resist. Neither was the Russian state, because it was too cold to resist. And, well, we have massive Bulgaria and a lot less nations. That's pretty much all for today's video. Please like, subscribe, and comment. Wild Mapper out, and until you subscribe. Bye, guys.